You're listening to The Observing Eye. Pirate radio for the mind. Coming at you fresh from the computer hell cabin.
Hello, you beautiful lot. It is Sunday, the 3rd of November, 2024, and you're listening to episode 89 of The Observing Eye, coming at you live from the computer hell cabin. Every week we get psychological, philosophical, and all manner of introspective. I'm David, and as we've just had Halloween, I thought we'd go a little off the beaten path and into something vague and mysterious. So today we're getting into Merkabah Mysticism and what it's got to do with aliens, psychic powers, and higher planes of consciousness. Before I get into that, however, there is an announcement that I'd like to make. If you've been following the podcast lately, you might remember that I mentioned that we've been nominated in the Hubhopper Podcast Awards for 2024. Well, surprisingly, we actually won. So you're now listening to an award-winning podcast, which is quite a thing. We've been voted the best health and wellness podcast for 2024, and I just wanted to give a huge thank you to everyone who went out and voted for us. It is massively, massively appreciated. The only issue now is I have to go and change all of the marketing material to mention award-winning podcast, but that's a first world problem, isn't it, really? Okay, let's get back to the transmission. In its original Hebrew, Merkabah simply means chariot. But of course, like most things in mysticism, this chariot isn't something to pull behind a horse. The Merkabah is something else entirely, both a journey and the vehicle for that journey, a symbol and a practice, a tool for elevating consciousness that for centuries has sparked the curiosity of mystics, philosophers, and more recently, those who claim encounters with extraterrestrials. Today on The Observing Eye, we are stepping into the world of Merkabah mysteries. We'll explore how this ancient symbol has captivated minds across cultures, diving into its Jewish mystical roots and tracking its peculiar journey through modern spirituality and New Age circles. But more intriguingly, we're also going to look at some of the unexpected directions the Merkabah has taken, directions that involve not just spiritual ascension, but encounters with the unknown, with psychic potential, and even with something that some might call magic. Now, maybe you're familiar with the Merkabah as a tool for meditation or healing, or maybe you've heard the star tetrahedron described as a light body that connects our consciousness to higher planes. Or maybe you're just hearing about this for the first time. Wherever you're coming from, I want to invite you to approach today's topic with curiosity, with wonder, and with a little bit of skepticism. Because at the end of the day, symbols like the Merkabah aren't just relics of ancient history. They are like keys that might unlock something within us, a deeper understanding of consciousness, or perhaps even a way to peer into the mysteries that remain just outside our reach. What lies beyond the Merkabah? Higher realms? The far edges of the universe? A reflection of our own untapped potential, perhaps? Let's find out. To understand the Merkabah, we first have to go back to a time when mysticism and philosophy were woven into the fabric of daily life. Imagine ancient Jewish mystics living in a world where the sacred and the ordinary were constantly entwined. These were people who saw the cosmos as a layered tapestry of meaning, each layer bringing them closer to understanding the divine. Now, the word Merkabah itself simply means chariot in Hebrew, but as you might expect, this isn't a chariot in the ordinary sense. The Merkabah was something far more profound. It was a symbol for the soul's journey, an ascent through realms of understanding and perception, leading one closer to a divine experience. So where did this idea come from? Well, Merkabah mysticism has its roots in early Jewish apocalyptic and mystical literature, particularly in texts like the Book of Ezekiel. Now, Ezekiel is a fascinating text. It tells the story of the prophet Ezekiel's vision of a divine chariot, carried not by horses, but by 4 heavenly creatures. Each of these creatures has a different face, one of a human, one of a lion, one of an ox, and one of an eagle. The chariot itself is adorned with wheels within wheels, moving in any direction without turning. It's otherworldly, almost surreal, a vision that's both a symbol and a mystery. For these early mystics, Ezekiel's vision was no mere hallucination or dream. It was a roadmap, a guide to understanding the divine structure of the universe. This chariot, this Merkabah, represented a spiritual journey that only the most devoted and prepared could undertake. And this wasn't just a metaphor. These mystics believed that through intense meditation, ritual, and a deep commitment to purity, they could actually ascend through levels of heaven, each guarded by angels and filled with profound spiritual knowledge. The journey through these heavens wasn't exactly a peaceful one. To ascend, mystics had to pass through each layer of heaven, confronting guardians and overcoming obstacles. They had to prove their worthiness both in knowledge and in purity. For each level, there was an encounter with a different aspect of the divine, a new vision, a new challenge, and at the highest level, they believed they would encounter the presence of God, a revelation so powerful that it could transform their very soul. This wasn't a path for the faint of heart. There are accounts both in religious text and oral tradition of mystics who embarked on this journey only to lose their minds or worse. To ascend the Merkabah was to come face to face with forces beyond human comprehension. Those who were unprepared could be driven mad, consumed by the intensity of the experience. And yet the allure of this journey, this ascent, was so powerful that it continued to captivate minds for centuries. Over time, the Merkabah evolved into more than just an individual vision or a journey. It became a central symbol in Jewish mysticism, especially for those following a path known as Merkabah mysticism or chariot mysticism. This path wasn't about dogma or ritual for its own sake. It was about direct transformative experience. Mystics who followed this path weren't content to simply read about the divine. They wanted to experience it for themselves, to taste that overwhelming presence, even if it meant risking everything. As the centuries passed, the tradition of Merkabah mysticism would influence other mystical paths, including later Kabbalistic practices. The vision of the chariot became a kind of prototype, an early form of what we might call ascension or enlightenment in other traditions. And in each retelling, in each mystical text and account, the Merkabah became a little richer, a little more complex. Today, the Merkabah still holds a special place in mystical thought, not just as an ancient relic, but as a symbol of the soul's potential, of our own capacity to ascend, to understand, to transform. It invites us to ask, if such a journey were possible, what might we discover? Would we find God, the essence of the universe, or perhaps something even deeper within ourselves? In a sense, the Merkabah isn't just a story about Jewish mystics or their visions. It's a story about the human drive to explore the unknown, to journey beyond the limits of ordinary understanding. And maybe it's a story that still has something to teach us today. In the next part of this journey, we're going to explore how the Merkabah has found its way into some unexpected realms, into the world of psychic abilities, alien encounters, and even the mysteries of modern New Age thought. Could this ancient chariot be more than just a symbol? Could it be a gateway to something far stranger? But before we do that, let's have a word from our sponsor. This episode is sponsored by Athletic Greens. No, it's not at all, actually. It's sponsored by me and my book, which is out on Amazon, and you can purchase it as a paperback or on the Kindle, and it sits very much alongside this podcast. So if you're interested in philosophy and psychology and ways that these ideas can be applied to our lives in general, then the book is a really great place to get some theory and some practical applications of it. The premise of the book, we go through a few different scenarios. We talk about authenticity, about gratitude, about letting go of stuff. And there's a lot of stoicism, there's some Buddhism in there, there's all sorts of philosophy and theology that covers this stuff. And the end point of it is for you to be able to reflect upon yourself and whether you are living according to how you would want to live organically, or whether you've adopted all of these frameworks and ideas that come from the external. God knows there's enough of those that hit us every day. So if you're interested in the podcast, if you're interested in that sort of thing, some philosophy, some psychology, and some actual uses of them in day-to-day living, then go and buy my book on Amazon. You have to just search The Observing Eye, or I will put a link in the show notes for you to go and have a look at that as well. And I'm hoping that you will find it useful. So yeah, go buy my book. Subliminal messaging. Buy my book. You will buy it. Yeah, but see what you think. Or don't. It's entirely up to you. There's no pressure. I have no expectation here. It is out into the world and I have let go of it. So it is just there. It exists. And you may enjoy it if you so choose. Thank you for your time. And we now return to the transmission. So we've traced the Merkabah back to its roots, to an ancient vision of a chariot ascending through realms of heaven, carrying the soul on a transformative journey. But what if I told you that some people see the Merkabah as something otherworldly? Not just a vehicle for spiritual ascent, but like actually a literal vehicle. Now, for some modern thinkers, the Merkabah isn't just a mystical symbol. It's a potential link to something far stranger. Imagine this. An ancient chariot travelling not just between levels of heaven, but across the cosmos itself. A vehicle not unlike what you might imagine today as a UFO. Now, I know that sounds like a big leap, but this idea that the Merkabah could somehow connect us to extraterrestrial phenomena has become surprisingly common in certain circles. It's a theory that blends ancient mysticism with modern UFO lore, suggesting that what Jewish mystics once described as a journey through divine realms might actually be an ancient encounter with beings from beyond this world. One of the earliest thinkers to popularize this idea was Erich von Däniken, whose book Chariots of the Gods made waves in the 1960s. Däniken's argument was simple yet audacious. What if ancient myths, religious texts, and symbols weren't just products of human imagination, but records of real encounters with advanced extraterrestrial civilizations? He pointed to biblical stories, including Ezekiel's vision of the Merkabah, as potential evidence of ancient contact with alien technology. To Däniken and others who followed in his footsteps, the description of the Merkabah, a chariot with wheels within wheels, moving in every direction without turning, sounded suspiciously like an advanced machine, perhaps even a spacecraft. The intricate details, the multi-faced creatures, the intense light and sound, these could all, they argue, point to something beyond a purely spiritual experience. Something tangible, technological. Now let's break this down for a moment. Ezekiel's vision is filled with strange, almost mechanical imagery. Wheels within wheels, strange lights, a chariot that seems to defy ordinary physics. To the ancient mystics, this was a divine revelation, a glimpse of the celestial order. But to a modern mind conditioned to see machinery and technology everywhere, it's not so hard to imagine a different interpretation. Could this have been some sort of contact with beings from another realm, or even another planet? Of course, this is all speculation, but it's interesting to note that the Merkabah's structure, a chariot, a vehicle, has always invited questions about movement, about journeying somewhere beyond our ordinary experience. And this isn't limited to Jewish mysticism. Across cultures, we find legends of divine vehicles. Hindu texts speak of vimanas, flying chariots used by gods. In ancient Egypt, the pharaoh was believed to ascend to the stars in a celestial boat. Could these myths reflect something more than metaphor? There are even modern believers, some might call them mystics in their own right, who claim that through Merkabah meditation, they've connected with beings from other realms. These people describe experiences of downloads of information, sudden bursts of insight, or even visions of otherworldly beings offering knowledge or guidance. To these practitioners, the Merkabah isn't just an ancient symbol, but a tool, a way of communicating with something or someone beyond human comprehension. Now, you might be wondering, where does the line blur between spiritual experience and encounter with the unknown? Could it be that ancient mystics in their journeys touched on truths that we're only beginning to grasp today? Or is this just the allure of mystery, a tendency to project our fascination with extraterrestrials onto ancient symbols that might have a much simpler meaning? In a way, the Merkabah and modern alien theories both represent our drive to understand something larger than ourselves, to bridge the gap between what we know and what lies beyond our reach. Whether it's an encounter with the divine, with otherworldly beings, or with our own deepest potential, the Merkabah becomes a kind of blank canvas, a symbol onto which we project our hopes, our fears, and our wildest speculations. So what do we make of this? Is the Merkabah a chariot of the gods, a vehicle for the soul, or perhaps a little bit of both? In truth, no one knows for certain, and maybe that's the beauty of it. The Merkabah remains an enigma, a timeless invitation to imagine, to wonder, and to seek. So we've explored the Merkabah as a mystical chariot, a vehicle for spiritual ascent, and even perhaps as a link to extraterrestrial encounters. But there's another layer to this mystery, one that reaches into the realm of human potential, intuition, and even psychic abilities. Some believe that activating the Merkabah within ourselves can unlock abilities we'd usually call psychic, things like heightened intuition, telepathy, or even a sense of precognition. The idea here is that the Merkabah is kind of an energetic field, one that we can awaken to expand our perception and access deeper layers of consciousness. Now, in modern spiritual practices, the Merkabah is often visualized as a star tetrahedron, or two interlocking pyramids, forming a three-dimensional shape that surrounds the human body. Practitioners believe that this geometric form isn't just symbolic. It represents an energy field, one that, when activated, can heighten our awareness and connect us with something beyond our ordinary senses. This idea of the Merkabah field isn't just about mysticism or symbolism. It's a practice, something that people today actually use to try to access hidden parts of themselves. Through meditation, visualization, and specific breathing techniques, practitioners aim to activate their Merkabah field, which they believe surrounds the body like an invisible, multi-dimensional energy grid. So what happens when someone activates this field? Well, those who practice Merkabah meditation report a range of experiences. Some describe it as a feeling of being tuned in, a sharper sense of intuition, almost like they can sense the thoughts or emotions of others without words. Others describe experiences of telepathy, a kind of mind-to-mind connection that defies normal communication. And still others say they've experienced moments of precognition, glimpses into events or outcomes that haven't yet happened. Now we might wonder what's actually happening here. Is it possible that these Merkabah practices are tapping into parts of our brains or consciousness that usually lie dormant? Neuroscientists studying meditation have found that certain techniques can change brain patterns, enhancing areas associated with focus, empathy, and even intuition. Could it be that by activating the Merkabah, practitioners are achieving something similar, accessing deeper levels of awareness or sensitivity? One of the most common practices used to activate the Merkabah is a visualization technique. Here's how it often goes. Imagine yourself surrounded by the star tetrahedron, two pyramids interlocking around you, one pointing upward, symbolizing cosmic energy, and the other pointing downward, representing grounding with the earth. Practitioners often visualize the structure spinning around them, creating a protective and energizing field that links them to higher planes of consciousness. This visualization is usually paired with specific breathing techniques intended to align the body's energy with the mind's intent. By focusing on this geometric form, practitioners report feeling centered, grounded, and yet somehow expanded, connected to something beyond the physical. Now you might be asking, is this really a gateway to psychic abilities? Or could it simply be a way of enhancing mindfulness, sharpening our natural senses, and creating a sense of inner calm? After all, meditation of any kind has been shown to reduce stress, improve focus, and sometimes even lead to insights or intuitions we might otherwise overlook. But for those who have practiced Merkabah meditation, the experience often goes deeper. They describe moments of profound clarity, visions, or even encounters with entities or guides who offer wisdom. It's as if activating the Merkabah opens a door within themselves, a door to a space where intuition flows more freely, where insights come without struggle, and where they feel attuned to a larger web of consciousness. The idea of the Merkabah as a psychic amplifier has found a home in New Age and spiritual communities. Here it's seen not just as an ancient symbol, but as a practical tool, a way to awaken the latent abilities that they believe lie within all of us. Some practitioners even see it as a method for self-healing, using the Merkabah to focus their energy and align their mind, body, and spirit. Now, of course, there is no scientific proof that the Merkabah can unlock psychic abilities, or that this energy field even exists in any measurable way. But there's a growing body of anecdotal evidence, stories from people who've experienced something profound while practicing Merkabah meditation. And whether or not you believe in psychic powers, it's hard to ignore the fact that these practices offer a powerful way to connect inward, to explore the mind, and perhaps to discover something within ourselves that we didn't know was there. So what does this mean for us? Can the Merkabah really unlock hidden abilities? Or is it simply another way of accessing our natural intuition, a tool for tapping into the wisdom we already possess? In the end, the Merkabah remains an open question, a practice that invites us to explore without necessarily expecting answers. But for those who've experienced its effects, there's little doubt something shifts, something deepens, and they feel a connection to themselves, to others, and perhaps even to the universe itself. Now, we mentioned in the previous section that star tetrahedron, so let's touch a bit on the symbolism and sacred geometry of the Merkabah and why that star tetrahedron is important. So as we said, it's made of two interlocking pyramids, one pointing upward, one pointing downward, forming a three-dimensional six-pointed star. It's a shape that appears in different traditions, from Jewish mysticism to New Age spirituality, as a symbol of balance, harmony, and interconnectedness. So why this shape? What is it about the star tetrahedron that makes it so compelling to spiritual seekers? Well, in many traditions, shapes and symbols are more than just visual. They're meant to express ideas, universal truths, or even cosmic principles. The star tetrahedron, or Merkabah, is believed to represent the fusion of opposites, earth and heaven, body and spirit, the material and the divine. Let's break this down. Picture the star tetrahedron for a moment. The upward-pointing pyramid is said to represent masculine energy, action, and ascension, the drive to reach up toward higher realms, to expand, to explore. Meanwhile, the downward-pointing pyramid is believed to represent feminine energy, grounding, and receptivity, a connection to the earth, to stability, to our roots. When these two shapes interlock, they form a harmonious balance, a symbol of unity. They represent the idea that ascension isn't just about rising up, it's also about staying connected, grounded. It's a reminder that true transformation isn't about escaping the world, but about bridging the worlds within us, the world of spirit and the world of matter, of thoughts and action, of being and becoming. In the world of sacred geometry, shapes like the star tetrahedron aren't just symbols. They're thought to be blueprints, forms that reflect the fundamental structures of the universe itself. Think about it. In nature, we see patterns everywhere, from the Fibonacci spirals in a seashell to the hexagons in a honeycomb. These forms aren't random. They reflect deeper mathematical principles and underlying order. Sacred geometry enthusiasts believe that the star tetrahedron is part of this order. They see it as a symbol of how the universe balances opposites, interweaving energies that might seem opposed but are in reality interconnected. To them, the Merkabah isn't just a mystical symbol, it's a map of the universe, a reminder that all things are linked. But there's another layer here, a belief that the Merkabah isn't just a static shape but an energetic structure. According to practitioners, the star tetrahedron is actually an energy field that surrounds us. Visualizing this shape, they say, can help us align with a higher vibration, creating what some call a light body, an ethereal form that can connect us with cosmic energies, protect us, and even help us ascend to new states of consciousness. Imagine yourself surrounded by this shape, with one pyramid reaching up towards the sky, drawing in cosmic energy, and the other grounding you to the earth. This isn't just about balance, it's about wholeness. Practitioners believe that by visualizing this field, by imagining the Merkabah surrounding us, we can activate our own energy field, align with these cosmic principles, and become more attuned to the subtle energies around us. This concept of a light body has fascinated spiritual seekers for ages. The Merkabah, they believe, is a tool for transformation, a way to connect with a higher self that exists beyond the physical. In meditation, some people visualize the star tetrahedron spinning around them, creating a field of energy that protects, heals, and elevates them. The spinning Merkabah, they say, can unlock new levels of awareness, connecting us to dimensions beyond the physical. Now, whether or not you believe in energy fields or cosmic vibrations, there's something undeniably profound about this symbol. It reminds us of balance, of harmony, and of our place within a vast and interconnected universe. It's a shape that speaks to the idea that all things, from the smallest cell to the largest star, are part of a greater pattern. And by meditating on the Merkabah, by visualizing this shape, perhaps we're connecting to something deep within us, a place of stillness, of unity, of insight. It's easy to see why the Merkabah has become so central to many spiritual practices. For those who work with it, the star tetrahedron is a living, breathing part of their spiritual journey. It offers a way to bridge the gap between the earthly and the divine, the physical and the spiritual, the self and the cosmos. So far, we've journeyed through the origins of the Merkabah, its possible links to extraterrestrials, its psychic potential, and its powerful symbolism in sacred geometry. But there's another layer yet to uncover, one that brings us directly into the realm of magic. To some, the Merkabah is a powerful form of magic, a way of tapping into unseen forces to shape reality, to manifest intentions, and to connect with higher planes. Practitioners who work with Merkabah magic often describe it as a bridge between realms of mind and matter, of desire and reality. In magical practice, the Merkabah is often visualized as a dynamic spinning field of energy. The star tetrahedron surrounds the practitioner, offering protection, clarity, and a kind of magical amplification. Imagine this structure, the interlocking pyramids spinning around you, creating a field of energy that you can shape and direct. For those who practice Merkabah magic, this spinning energy field becomes a kind of magical tool, one that connects the practitioner to both the earth and the cosmos. One of the most common uses of Merkabah magic is for protection. Practitioners believe that when they activate their Merkabah, they create a powerful energetic shield around themselves, one that can guard them against negative energies or influences. This is especially important in magical practices, where intention and energy are seen as highly sensitive to outside forces. To create this protective Merkabah, practitioners visualize the star tetrahedron spinning around them and forming that protective shell of light. The light of this protective shield is often described as vibrant, electric, a field that strengthens their aura and wards off anything that might disturb their focus or energy. For some, it isn't just a visualization, it's a tangible sensation, a feeling of being wrapped in an energetic armor that helps them stay grounded, centered, and secure. But Merkabah magic isn't only about protection. It's also a tool for manifestation, for bringing desires and intentions into reality. Those who practice Merkabah manifestation believe that by focusing their thoughts and intentions within this energetic field, they can amplify their own power of attraction, aligning their energy with their goals and drawing these goals toward them. In a typical Merkabah manifestation ritual, the practitioner might begin by setting a clear intention, whether it's healing, clarity, success, or some personal goal. They then visualize this intention as an image or symbol, placing it within the spinning star tetrahedron. As the Merkabah spins, they imagine this intention becoming energized, glowing brighter, filling the entire field with the energy of their desire. In this way, the Merkabah becomes a kind of incubator for the intention, a space where the seed of desire can take root and grow. And of course, manifestation in this sense isn't just about getting what you want. It's a process of aligning with the universe, of tuning into a higher frequency, and of creating harmony between your inner desires and the outer world. The Merkabah is seen as a tool for working in harmony with universal laws, for aligning personal intentions with the flow of the cosmos. Now, perhaps the most intriguing aspect of Merkabah magic is its use of astral travel. Many practitioners believe that the Merkabah is a vehicle, a chariot in the true sense of a word, that can carry the soul beyond the physical realm. In astral travel practices, the Merkabah is visualized as a kind of spiritual spaceship, a field of light and energy that surrounds the practitioner and lifts them into other realms of consciousness. Some describe this experience as rising above their physical body, moving through layers of light and energy until they reach a space of pure awareness. For those who believe, the Merkabah becomes a means of exploring the astral plane, of journeying through realms that exist beyond our physical senses. In these journeys, practitioners report encounters with guides, visions of past or future events, and experiences of profound clarity or insight. For some, these journeys bring back wisdom, a kind of knowledge that they describe as beyond words, as if the macabre has opened a door to something deeper, something universal. To many practitioners, these experiences aren't flights of imagination. They are a vital part of their spiritual path, a way to explore consciousness itself. The macabre for them allows them to touch realms of existence that lie beyond our everyday reality. Of course, not everyone will be drawn to the more mystical aspects of macabre magic, but whether or not you believe in astral travel or manifestation or anything like that, there is something quite powerful about the image of the macabre, a chariot of light spinning around us, connecting us to the universe. For those who work with it, the macabre is a tool and a companion and also a gateway to something greater. It invites us to see ourselves not as isolated beings, but as part of a vast, interconnected web of energy, a cosmos where mind and matter are deeply intertwined. Over the last few decades, the macabre has taken on yet another life, becoming a symbol of transformation and ascension within the world of New Age spirituality. In New Age circles, the macabre is considered a tool for awakening, a way to activate our own light body, this ethereal spiritual aspect of ourselves that can connect us to higher dimensions and greater awareness, allegedly. For many modern spiritual seekers, the macabre is a map and a method for experiencing personal transformation. This term light body has become a bit of a cornerstone in New Age thought. Practitioners believe that each of us has this energetic body, this luminous part of ourselves that can be activated or awakened through spiritual practices. And the macabre, they say, is the key to this awakening. When we activate this macabre field, we are creating a bridge between our physical self and our spiritual self, which allows us to access new levels of consciousness. The idea of the macabre as a light body is central to the teachings of Unravelling Melchizedek, one of the figures who helped bring macabre activation to a wider audience. In the 1990s, Melchizedek's work introduced many to the idea that by visualizing and activating the macabre, we could begin a process of spiritual ascension, raising our vibration, connecting with higher realms, and transforming our own consciousness. Melchizedek's macabre meditation involves detailed visualization techniques, breathing exercises, and focused intention, all aimed at activating the star tetrahedron around the body. By practicing this, he says, we can raise our frequency, align with cosmic energies, and even shift into a new, more evolved version of ourselves. To those new to these ideas, ascension might sound abstract or even a bit out there, but for many who practice macabre meditation, it is a very real process. They describe feeling lighter, more attuned to subtle energies, and more connected to a sense of universal love and wisdom. This process of ascension is often described as a journey toward becoming a more expansive, conscious, and compassionate being. In the New Age perspective, the macabre is seen as a part of a larger spiritual evolution, someone that is available to anyone who seeks it. Those who work with macabre meditation believe that we are all in a way on an ascension path, each of us moving toward greater awareness, toward understanding our place in the universe, and toward realizing our potential as spiritual beings. For some, this journey is intensely personal, an inward exploration of consciousness. For others, the macabre represents a collective evolution, an idea that as more people activate their macabre, we're moving toward a more harmonious, enlightened society. In this view, the macabre becomes a symbol of unity, of the belief that we are all connected in an intricate web of energy and that our growth as individuals contributes to the evolution of the whole. New Age interpretations of the macabre also emphasize its healing potential. Practitioners believe that by activating the macabre field, we can tap into powerful energies for self-healing. And this healing is said to occur on multiple levels, not just physical, but emotional and spiritual as well. For some, macabre meditation becomes a way to release old patterns, to let go of energies that no longer serve, and to align more fully with their true self. In these practices, the macabre is visualized as a rotating field of light around the body, drawing in healing energy and cleansing anything that feels stagnant or unbalanced. This idea of energetic healing, of cleaning and aligning, is a major aspect of New Age thought, where practices like Reiki, crystal healing, and chakra work also find resonance. To many New Age practitioners, the macabre is an invitation to explore, to heal, to evolve. It offers a path to understanding ourselves as more than physical beings, to seeing ourselves as souls on a journey, to recognizing that each of us holds within us the potential to rise and to transform. In the end, the Merkabah's journey through New Age spirituality reflects a broader yearning in our modern world. It is a yearning to reach beyond the ordinary, to find meaning in an often chaotic existence. Whether we see it as a literal light body, a tool for ascension, or simply as a powerful symbol, the Merkabah speaks to something deep within us all. A call to grow, to seek, and to align with the mysteries of the universe. So far, we have looked at the Merkabah as a chariot for spiritual ascent, a potential link to extraterrestrial realms, a psychic amplifier, a structure of sacred geometry, and even a New Age tool for personal transformation. But what if the Merkabah is more than the sum of these interpretations? What if it's a symbol that points us towards something fundamental about the very nature of consciousness itself? Let's start with the idea of consciousness. For centuries, philosophers and scientists alike have wrestled with the question, what is consciousness? Is it merely a byproduct of our brain chemistry, or is it something more? Something that exists beyond the physical, that connects us to a larger web of reality. The Merkabah as a concept invites us to think of consciousness as layered, as something that can ascend, expand, and transform. In many spiritual traditions, consciousness is seen as more than a mental process. It is viewed as an expansive, multi-layered reality that includes not only our thoughts and feelings, but also deeper states of awareness, intuition, and connection. When we talk about the Merkabah as a vehicle of ascension, we are talking about an idea that consciousness isn't fixed. It can shift, it can rise, it can connect us to realms of existence beyond the material. For those who see the Merkabah as a symbol of consciousness, its interlocking pyramids represent the fusion of body and spirit. The star tetrahedron becomes a map, showing us that our experience isn't limited to the visible world. It's an invitation to explore realms of awareness that lie beyond ordinary perception, to recognize that consciousness might be like a staircase, or even an elevator, that can take us to deeper or higher states of being. When practitioners visualize the Merkabah surrounding themselves with this geometric form, they are engaging with the idea that consciousness can be molded, expanded, and even liberated. They are tuning into a field of awareness where the boundaries between self and universe begin to dissolve. It's a place where consciousness isn't confined by time or space, where it becomes fluid and open to possibility. This idea of consciousness as a vast interconnected field isn't just spiritual speculation. Some physicists and neuroscientists are starting to question whether consciousness might in fact be fundamental to reality. Theories like panpsychism suggest that consciousness could be a basic aspect of the universe, something that exists everywhere, in everything, woven into the very fabric of existence. If that's true, then maybe the Merkabah, with its balanced geometry and dual symbolism, is a reminder of a truth that ancient mystics intuited long ago, a truth that we're only beginning to understand today, that consciousness, like the Merkabah itself, is multi-layered and capable of transcending the limits of physical reality. For those who meditate with the Merkabah, this becomes a personal experience. They say that in these moments they feel connected to everything, the earth beneath them, the stars above, even the people and places beyond their immediate surroundings. It's as if the Merkabah allows them to tune into a universal consciousness, a field of awareness that isn't bound by the usual boundaries of self. Could it be that the Merkabah symbolizes a kind of cosmic consciousness, a level of awareness where the separation between self and other begins to dissolve? And if so, what does that mean for our understanding of reality? In a sense, the Merkabah offers us a way to reimagine what it means to be conscious, to be aware. It suggests that perhaps our usual everyday perception is just one layer of a much deeper experience. When we visualize the Merkabah, we're tuning into that deeper layer, reminding ourselves that reality may be far richer and more complex than it appears. In the end, it remains an open question, a mystery that each of us can explore in our own way. It reminds us that consciousness isn't fixed, that reality isn't just what we see, and that within each of us, there may be a vast and untapped potential waiting to be awakened. The Merkabah, in the end, is more than a chariot, more than a shape, more than a concept. It is a timeless invitation. an invitation to ascend, to connect, to transform, and perhaps most importantly, to remember. To remember that we are, each of us, a part of something vast, something ancient, and something profound. As I wrap up our episode on Merkabah mysticism, there is one final but very important aspect that I would like us to consider. While the Merkabah has inspired mystics and New Age practitioners alike, it has also been met with its fair share of skepticism. And I think it's important to look at those critiques honestly, to recognize that this journey isn't just about wonder and mysticism. It's also about questioning, balancing belief with discernment. You see, the Merkabah, as with many mystical symbols and practices, occupies a space where fascination and skepticism naturally intersect. For some, the Merkabah represents this powerful transformative practice, but for others, especially within academic or scientific circles, it is seen as an elaborate mythology, a collection of metaphors rather than literal truths. One common critique of modern Merkabah practices, especially those popularized in New Age circles, is that they're often disconnected from the original Jewish mystical context. For the early mystics, the Merkabah was deeply rooted in religious tradition, bound by ritual, purity, and discipline. It was a concept steeped in the spiritual framework of Jewish mysticism, and in that context, it wasn't meant to be a tool for personal gain or manifestation, but rather a means of approaching the divine with reverence. Some scholars argue that by taking the Merkabah out of its original context, modern interpretations can feel superficial or even appropriative. They suggest that when we remove the Merkabah from its roots, we risk losing the depth, the richness of its cultural and spiritual significance. In this view, the Merkabah becomes less of a sacred symbol and more of a product, a concept that can be repackaged, marketed, and sold, often stripped of its original meaning. And then, of course, there is the question of evidence. Critics often point out that there is no empirical proof for many of the claims associated with the Merkabah, whether it's psychic abilities, ascension, or light bodies. To them, the Merkabah can seem like little more than wishful thinking, a blend of mystical and pseudo-scientific ideas that lacks measurable proof. In these circles, the Merkabah is sometimes viewed as a kind of placebo, a practice that may feel powerful or transformative, but only because it resonates with the practitioner's beliefs or desires. This isn't to say that people don't feel real effects, many do, but from a skeptical standpoint, those effects might be attributed to psychological phenomena rather than spiritual or metaphysical truths. And then there's a third layer to this skepticism, the commercialization of the Merkabah in New Age and self-help circles. For some, the Merkabah has become just another product in a marketplace of spirituality. Workshops, courses, books, and crystals all claim to offer Merkabah activation or ascension, often for a price. Critics argue that the commercialization not only dilutes the Merkabah's original meaning, but risks exploiting people's spiritual yearnings. Of course, these critiques don't diminish the genuine experiences that people report. Many practitioners find meaning, healing, and insights in their work with the Merkabah, and for them, the lack of scientific proof doesn't detract from the power of their experiences. As with many spiritual practices, the value of the Merkabah often lies in its personal impact, in the way it helps people connect with something greater or explore their inner world. In a way, this brings us back to a central question. What is the purpose of spirituality? For some, it's about transformation and connection. For others, it's about seeking objective truth, understanding the world in a measurable way. The Merkabah exists somewhere in between these perspectives, inviting both wonder and skepticism, belief and inquiry. So where does this leave us? Perhaps the Merkabah, like many mystical ideas, isn't something that can or should be proven. It may be at its core a personal experience, something that doesn't fit neatly into the boxes of belief or disbelief. For some, it's a deeply meaningful symbol that enhances their life and deepens their understanding of consciousness. For others, it remains a beautiful, compelling story, one that inspires curiosity, even if it doesn't offer literal truths. In the end, each of us has to decide how we engage with symbols like the Merkabah. Do we see it as a sacred tool, a cultural artifact, a personal practice, or a mystical metaphor? Perhaps the beauty of the Merkabah lies in its openness to interpretation. It allows us to hold multiple perspectives, to honor the mystery while remaining grounded, to appreciate the symbol while questioning its claims. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all I have to say on the subject of Merkabah mysticism. As we close this episode, I'd like to take a moment to reflect on the journey that we have taken through the Merkabah. From its ancient origins as a mystical chariot to its interpretations in modern spirituality and the possibilities it opens in consciousness and reality, the Merkabah has proven to be much more than just a symbol. It is a window, or perhaps even a mirror, reflecting something back to each of us about our own journey. We've explored how the Merkabah was first seen as a divine vehicle, a way for early Jewish mystics to ascend through layers of heaven, facing the unknown to connect with the divine. We've touched on the idea that the Merkabah might link to extraterrestrial realms, sparking wonder and even speculation about encounters that lie beyond the ordinary. We've looked at how the Merkabah may hold psychic potential, an energetic field that some believe unlocks hidden abilities, granting access to deeper intuition, heightened awareness, or even healing powers. And we've seen its sacred geometry, a shape that invites us to find balance, harmony, and interconnectedness within ourselves and within the cosmos. In the modern world, the Merkabah has been reshaped into a symbol of ascension and personal transformation. For some, it's become a guide to self-discovery, a way of aligning with higher frequencies and a tool for healing. And yet, as we've seen, the Merkabah is also a symbol that invites both reverence and skepticism. It encourages us to explore our beliefs while keeping an open mind, to seek meaning while questioning. But perhaps the greatest gift of the Merkabah is its ability to hold all of these perspectives at once. Whether we see it as a mystical tool, a metaphor for consciousness, or simply a fascinating shape, the Merkabah invites us to go beyond the surface, to journey inward, and to ask ourselves, what mysteries lie within me? What potential remains untapped? And what am I truly seeking on this journey of life? The Merkabah reminds us that each of us has the capacity to ascend and to connect with something greater, whether that's a higher state of consciousness, a sense of unity with others, or a deeper understanding of our own spirit. It tells us that life itself is a journey, an ever-evolving path that each of us must navigate in our own way. So as we end this exploration of the Merkabah, I invite you to take what resonates, to hold on to the insights that feel meaningful, and to continue your own journey with curiosity and wonder. Whether or not you choose to work with the Merkabah, to meditate, to visualize, or simply to ponder, I hope this journey has sparked something within you, a new question, a fresh perspective, a reminder of the vastness that surrounds us and the depth that lies within. Thank you for joining me today and for being part of this exploration into the Merkabah and its many facets. Very grateful to share this space with you and to explore some of these peculiar little mysteries together and to find meaning in places both familiar and the unknown. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to the podcast, leaving us a review, or sharing it with others who might find it interesting. Your support helps us to continue to bring you this sort of content, and it also shows us what stuff you like and what you don't, so we can start tailoring things that are probably a little bit more appealing. As always, if anything in this episode has resonated with you in any way, then I would love to hear from you. You can share your stories via Patreon at patreon.com/theobservingeye. You can go on our website, theobservingeye.com, or you can find us on social media. We're on YouTube at youtube.com/@theobservingeye, and on TikTok and Instagram with the handle @theobservingeye as well. And you can also email us at david@theobservingeye.com. Take care, everybody. Much love, and I'll catch you soon.
You've been listening to The Observing Eye. Thanks for spending some time with me today. I hope it's been useful. And if you're interested in any more of my writing or work around psychology, philosophy, and general day-to-day living, please go and take a look at my Substack, which is theobservingeye.com. And that's I as in the letter, not I as in the gelatinous organ through which you see. Take care, everybody. Much love, and I'll catch you soon.